welcome to the glitter box. Glad you found it. You know, I put stuff out there full of the butterflies. I hope that maybe helped. We are the Jesters Guild, and we appreciate all of you coming. It really helps us out. And if you like us, make sure to send people to us tomorrow because it's the last chance. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Oh, I should mention the little coffee shop next door, the Little Idea, is open just for us. So we'll come intermission if you want to go grab something. They, you know, they're kind of in cahoots with us. Let's see. Yeah, that's all the plugs. All right. So allow me to welcome you all to this performance of the complete works of William Shakespeare, abridged. And before we get underway, I do have a few brief announcements. Any flash photography, and in fact, any actually recording of this performance by any means, audio or visual, is strictly prohibited unless you're Ryan back there who's doing it for our own posterity. You know, it can't be spread around. You know, it's just a licensing thing. So if you have a cell phone with you, please take a moment now and just go ahead and turn that off if you would. If you have a pager, consider getting a cell phone. It's very useful. For your convenience, toilets are located in the bathroom. Please take a moment to locate the exits nearest your seats. And if the theater should experience a sudden loss of pressure, oxygen masks will be deployed automatically. Simply place the mask over your nose and mouth and continue to breathe normally. Now, if you've arrived at the theater with a small child this evening, remember to place your own mask on first and let the little bugger fend for himself. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is David Lynch.
Yeah, Dave!
Not that David Lynch, though. And I am pleased to announce that we are about to attempt a feat that I believe to be unprecedented in the history of civilization. That is, to capture in one theatrical experience the magic, the genius, the towering grandeur of the complete works of William Shakespeare. Thank you. Now, we didn't pay the glitter box a whole lot of money, so we only have an hour and a half. And this book weighs about 6 pounds, so that's 7 ounces every 8 seconds, which is kind of like 2 six-packs a minute, so we better start drinking. And nobody knows more about Shakespeare and alcohol than the man I'm about to introduce. He is one of the world's preeminent Shakespearean scholars, with a certificate of completion from preeminentshakespeareanscholar.com. And he is here tonight to provide the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged with a much needed preface. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage my brother, Mr. Derek Lynch. Woo!
Thank you, David, and greetings, ladies and gentlemen. William Shakespeare. Playwright, poet, actor, Stratford's proudest flower, transplanted from the heart of the English countryside to bask in the warmth of London's literary greenhouse. A man who, despite the ravages of male-pattern baldness, planted the potent seed of his poetical genius in the fertile womb of Elizabeth's England. There it took root and spread through the lymphatic system of Western civilization until it became the oozing carbuncle of knowledge and understanding that grows even today on the very tip of our collective consciousness. And yet, how much do we intellectually flaccid members of the 21st century appreciate the plump fruit of Shakespeare's productive loins? How much? Well, let's find out, shall we? Bob, could I have the house lights, please? Now, you are a theater-going crowd, obviously of above-average literary sensibility. And yet, if I may just have a brief show of hands, how many of you here this evening have ever seen or read any play by William Shakespeare? Any contact with the bard whatsoever? Just I think they know more than we do.
You're an eminent Shakespearean scholar.
No, you're preeminent.
Just be preeminent. Okay?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we see if we can narrow it down a bit? By show of hands, how many of you have ever seen or read All's Well That Ends Well? All's Well That Ends Well. Okay. Less than that. Just out of curiosity, if you'll indulge me for a minute, let's find out if we have any super eminent Shakespearean scholars here. By show of hands, how many of you have ever seen or read King John? King John, anyone? Liar. All right. Sorry. Seen it or read it?
I downloaded it.
Would you mind telling everyone what it's about?
Yeah, it's called the Hunchback.
No. King John is not about a hunchback. As any preeminent Shakespearean scholar knows, King John is about a king named John. Would you stand up, please? Ladies and gentlemen, ecce homo.
2018.
May I assume from your obvious lack of fluency in Latin that you have not matriculated?
Not today.
Look at this man, ladies and gentlemen. Abandoned by our educational system, awash in a sea of sexual ambiguity, hopped up on empty kilobytes of virtual Viagra. And now, look at the person sitting next to you. Go ahead, look. Do you recognize there the same vapid expression, the same pores clogged with the acne of intellectual immaturity? Or, keep looking. Do you perhaps see there a longing, a desperate plea for literary salvation?
Can I sit down now?
No! No, you stand there before everyone here as a living symbol of a society whose capacity to comprehend, much less attain, the genius of William Shakespeare has been systematically sodomized by soap operas, reamed by reality shows, and violently violated by whatever fad show is on HBO. Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, cast off the cheap thrill of the car chase for the splendor of the sonnet. Abandon the isolation of the iPad for the gentle idylls of the iron. Imagine a world where manly men wear pink tights with pride. Hallelujah! A brave new world where this book will be found in every hotel room in the world. Can I get an amen? Amen! Oh, this is my dream, ladies and gentlemen, and it begins here tonight. Join us, won't you, on this, our holy quest, this Shakespearean jihad. Can I get an amen? Oh, thank you, Jesus! And now on with the show, and may the bard be with you.
Those of you who own a copy of this book know that no collection is complete without a brief biography of the life of William Shakespeare. So, here tonight to provide that portion of our show is the third member of our troupe. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Aaron Beilstein!
Hi. Cool. So I was Googling William Shakespeare, and I found some pretty amazing stuff. So let's get started, yeah. William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born in the town of Stratford-upon-Avon, Warwickshire, in 1564. He was the third of 8 children and the oldest son to John Shakespeare, a locally prominent merchant, and Mary Arden, daughter to a Roman. A Catholic member of the landed gentry, in 1582 he married a farmer's daughter by the name of Anne Hathaway.
Different Anne.
That's a shame. Shakespeare arrived in London in 1588. There, he dictated to his secretary, Rudolf Hess, his work Mein Kampf, in which he set forth his plan for the restoration of Germany to a dominant position in Europe. After reoccupying the Rhineland zone between France and Germany, and annexing Austria, the Sudetenland, and the Raven of Czechoslovakia, Shakespeare invaded Poland on September 1st, 1939, World War II. I didn't know any of that. Shakespeare remained in Berlin when the Russians arrived. There he committed suicide with his mistress, Eva Perón. But his head was frozen in a holding tank in Glendale, California. Thank you.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, and without further ado, we are proud to present the complete works of William Shakespeare, abridged. All the world's a stage. All the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. One man plays many parts. How true. How many parts exactly must one man play? According to my computations, there are 1,122 roles in all of Shakespeare's works, which is way too many. Take, for example, his most popular play, Romeo and Juliet. Two passionate lovers, a meddling nurse, a sympathetic priest, all vital to the story. But Mercutio? Lady Capulet. Unsightly fat on Shakespeare's otherwise muscular body of work. Let us therefore begin our shrinkage of Shakespeare's canon by rendering the gristle and the blubber of his greatest romantic tragedy down to the tender, moist, underage flesh of Romeo and Juliet. Prologue.
Two households for the like and dignity in fair Verona where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge breaks to new nudity, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventures piteous o'erthrows do with their death bury their parents' strife.
Thank you very much. Act 1, Scene 1. Behold two men in search of imbroglio. For the Capulet Samson, for Montague Benvolio. Verona's fragile peace shall be undone, and tragedy begin with the biting of a thumb.
That's him. I hate his whole family and saw him.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
No, sir, I do not bite my thumb.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
I bite my thumb, but I do not bite my thumb at you, sir. Do you quarrel?
Oh, quarrel, sir? No, sir.
Well, if you do, sir, I am for you. I serve as good a man as you.
No better.
Yes, better.
You lie.
Down with the Montagues!
Of yours, Capulets!
go along with me. Benvolio, come you this afternoon to know our farther pleasure in this case.
Brown nose.
Ass hat.
Oh, where is Romeo? Saw you him today?
Right glad I am he wasn't at this fray. But see, he comes. But see, he comes. Tomorrow, cuz.
Is the day so young?
The dew struck nine.
I sat hours seem long.
What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours?
Not having marriage. Having makes them short.
Ah, love.
Out.
Out of love.
Out of a favor where I'm in love.
Alas, that love, so gentle in his view, should be so rough and tyrannous in proof.
Alas, that love whose view is muffled still, should without eyes see pathways to his will.
Ooh. Go ye to the feast of Capulets. There sups the fair Rosalind, whom thou so lovest. And with all the admired beauties of Verona, go thither and compare her face to some that I shall show. And that shall make thee think thy swan a crow.
None fairer than my love.
There's free beer.
Let's go.
And so much for Act 1. Don't worry, it gets better. Now hie we to the feast of Capulet, where Romeo shall meet his Juliet. Where in a scene of timeless romance, he'll try to get into Juliet's pants.
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn. My heart loved till now, for swear and sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this night. Oh, if I should profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle find is this. With my lips, two blushing pilgrims ready stand, to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss.
Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hands too much. Which manly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm holy palmers kiss.
Have saints not lips and holy palmers too?
Aye, pilgrim, lips they must use in prayer.
Oh, then dear saint, let lips do as hands do.
Saints do not move, but pray for prayer's sake.
If not, while my prayers effect I take.
Then for my lips the sin that they've took.
Oh, sin from my lips. Oh, trespass, sweetly urged. Give me my sin again.
I'm not gonna kiss at you. You kissed by the book. Oh, coming, mother.
Is she a Capulet? Aye, so I fear. The more is my unrest. What are you doing?
Ah, let me see.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks?
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father, and refuse thy name, and if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I shall no longer be a Capulet. What's in a name anyways? Like what you call a nose, by any other name would still smell. Ah, Romeo, not thy name, before thy name, and no part of me, take all myself!
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I shall be new baptized. Henceforth, I shall never be Romeo.
What'd you say?
Call me but love, and I shall be new baptized. Henceforth, I shall...
Call you butt love.
I said, call me but love.
Okay, you're butt love. Butt love, wherefore art thou, butt love?
Line.
What man art thou?
What man art thou? Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike.
Dost thou love me then? I know thou wilt say aye, and I shall take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayest prove false. Oh, Romeo, if dost thou love, pronounce it faithfully.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear.
Swear not by the moon!
What shall I swear by then? Lady, by yonder blessed virgin, I swear.
I don't think so. Do not swear at all. Although I do find joy in thee, I do not find joy in this contract tonight. It's too rash, too sudden, too unadvised. Too doth like the lightning that doth cease to be. Ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. Sweet good night. Hey, butt love, over here!
Wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight? Okay. Second base for second date. That's fair. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Goodbye, butt love.
Lo, Romeo did swoon with love. By Cupid he'd been crippled, but Juliet had a loathsome cause, whose loathsome name was Tybalt.
Romeo, the love I bear thee can afford no better turn than this. Thou taught to villain, therefore turn it wrong.
Tybalt, I do protest. I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise.
Thou wretched boy, I am for you. Oh, I am slain.
Moving right along, apparently, from Tybalt's death onward, the lovers are cursed. Despite the best efforts of friar and nurse, their fate pursues them. They can't seem to duck it. And at the end of Act 5, they both kick the bucket. Bucket.
Gallop apace, ye fire-footed steeds, and bring in cloudy night immediately! Come, civil night, come, Romeo! Thou day and night, oh, gentle night, oh, coming, loving, black-browed night, oh, night, come, and bring me my Romeo! Oh, it's my nurse! Oh, nurse, what news?
Alack the day! He's gone! He's killed! He's dead!
Oh, can heaven be so envious?
Oh, Romeo! Who would ever have thought it, Romeo?
Oh, what devil art thou to torment me thus? Hath Romeo slain himself?
I saw the wound. I saw it with my own eyes, here in his manly breast.
Is Romeo slaughtered and Tybalt killed?
No, Tybalt is slain and Romeo banished. Romeo that killed Tybalt, he is banished.
Oh God, did Romeo's hand shed Tybalt's blood?
It did. Oh, alas the day it did. Oh,
Ah, menopause. Good Friar Lawrence. Romeo is banished and Tybalt is slain. I have cramps and I'm not so fresh here. Can you help, please?
Take thou this vial, and this distilled liquor drink thou off, and presently through thy veins shall run a cold and drowsy humor.
Aha, I feel a cold and drowsy humor running through my veins. Obi-Wan. Oh, I feel faint. I see the colors of the rainbow. Just walking off it. Just say no.
Oh no! My love, my wife, death that hath sucked the honey of thy breath hath no power yet to pluck thy beauty. Oh, Juliet, why art thou yet so fair?
No, just lucky, I guess.
Here's to my love. True apothecary, thy drugs are quick. Thus, with a kiss I die. Thus, with a kiss I die. Get over it.
Good morning! Oh, where is my love? Ah! Oh, what's this? A cup closed in my true love's hand? Poison I see hath been his timeless end. Oh, churl! Oh, drunk all and left no friendly drop to help me after.
Then I'll be brief.
Oh, happy dagger.
This is my sheath. That's Romeo for you.
A blooming peace, morning wind it brings, the sun for sorrow will not show its head. Go forth and have more talk of these sad things, for some shall be pardoned, and some punished, for never was there a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. And Romeo and Juliet are dead.
How much we did that in 12 minutes? That's not bad. Let's see, 12 times 37, that's 7 hours.
Okay, so we spent a little too long on Romeo and Juliet, but it is a classic, unlike our next play, which Shakespeare wrote as a 24-year-old starving artist, desperate for a hit, but too poor to know where his next banger was coming from. No surprise that an obsession with food dominates his first tragedy, the primitive revenge drama Titus Andronicus, which we now present as a cooking show. Hello, everyone! I'm Titus Andronicus, and welcome to the Gory Gourmet. Now, when you've had a bad day, your left hand chopped off, your son's murdered, your daughter raped, both her hands chopped and her tongue cut out, the last thing you want to do is cook. Unless, of course, you cook the rapist and feed him to his mother at a dinner party. My daughter Lavinia and I will show you how. Good evening, Lavinia.
Good evening, Daddy.
And how are we feeling today?
Not good, Daddy. I got my tongue cut off, my hands chopped off, and he whipped me. How do you think I feel?
It's a pester, but we'll have our revenge, won't we? Hark, villain! I will grind your bones to dust, and of your blood in it I'll make a paste, and of that paste a coffin I will rear, and make a pasty of your shameful head. Come, Lavinia, receive the blood. Now, the first thing you want to do is make a nice, clean incision from carotid artery to jugular vein, like so.
Oh, gross!
Be sure to use a big bowl for this, because the human body has about 4 quarts of blood. And when that he is dead, which should be now, let me grind his bones to powder small, and in this hate-filled liquor temper it, and in that paste let his vile head be baked at about 350 degrees, and 40 minutes later you have this delightful human head pie, which I prepared earlier. I even made up some nice lady fingers for dessert. Now, which of you will be the first to enjoy this delicious high-protein treat? Welcome, gracious lord, welcome, dread queen. Will't please you eat, will't please you feed. It's finger-licking good.
Come on, Daddy. High five. I'm a monster!
Well, that's about all the time we have. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we'll see Timon of Athens and a meaty new take on the Greek salad. Say goodnight, Lavinia.
Video.
Close enough. Good night, everybody. Disgusting. But inexplicably, that was the biggest hit of Shakespeare's lifetime, which allowed Shakespeare, who was now swimming in sausages, to broaden his artistic horizons. For example, compare the immaturity of Titus Andronicus to the complex subtleties of the human condition revealed in his dark and brooding tragedy, Othello, the Moor of Venice.
Speak of me as I am, let nothing extenuate. Of one who loved not wisely, but too well. For never was there a story of more woe than this of Othello and his Desdemona.
Ah, ooh, ugh, ah, oh, I'm dead from this. Oh.
Bob, can we get the house lights? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It seems that Aaron, secure in the infallibility of the internet, has Googled the word more and found it to be a place where you tied up boats.
I would you to thank you.
Lose the boats, Aaron. You never know what board is. What's a board?
Well, interestingly, this is actually the subject of a blazing scholarly debate. You see, to Elizabethans, more could refer specifically to the Berbers of North Africa, or more generally to any person of sub-Saharan African descent.
So Othello's black.
African American.
Well, isn't the term a colored person now?
The term is person of.
That's what I said.
You said colored person. African American. So what, you think we should call him African Italian?
Okay. That's enough. That's quite enough. Moving along. I got an idea. You know, we want to be progressive. Oh, we want to be traditional. Right. So it's kind of old school, relatively vocalist. Just gotta get a beat going. Here's a story of a brother by the name of Othello. He liked white women and he liked to play the cello.
And a punk named Iago who made himself a menace because he didn't like Othello, the Moor of Venice.
Now Othello got married to Desdemona.
He took off for the wars and left her alone.
Desdemona.
Agrona.
He left her alone.
He didn't write a letter and he didn't telephone her.
He doesn't love Othello because he had a big sword.
Slick, he was crafty.
He was lying.
Sort of a penis.
He said, "Come more.
How you gonna do it? Tell us.
Well, I know his tragic flaws too. He's too damn jealous. I need a do, I need a don't, I need a kind of schmo.
So he grabbed a chump sucker by the name of Cassio.
And he plans on a Desdemona's handkerchief.
But Othello gets to wondering just maybe if, while he be out fighting, commanding an army.
Or Desi and Cass playing hide the salami.
Salami! So we come back home and he smothered the biatch.
And he pulled it off without a hiat.
But there's Amelia at the door.
So we met in Act
Who
4.
said, yo, homie, she bought no hoe.
She was pure, she was clean, she was virginal too.
So why'd you have to go and make her face turn blue?
It's true.
It's you. Now
What you gonna do? Now Othello said,
Damn, this is getting pretty scary.
So he pulled out his blade and committed Harry Carey.
do that funky more thing one. But Iago got off on a technicality.
Moved to Hollywood.
Got his own TV.
Show that is.
Prime time.
HBO.
Desperate houseboats.
Hey guys, why don't we move on from all this heavy tragedy and go on to the comedies?
Yeah! Comedies!
Now, Shakespeare's comedies were greatly influenced by the Roman plays of Plautus and Terence, Ovid's Metamorphoses, which are hilarious, and the rich Italian tradition of Commedia dell'arte. He was a genius at borrowing and adapting plot devices from these different theatrical traditions.
Isn't that just called plagiarism?
Shakespeare didn't plagiarize, he distilled.
Whatever. He's a big cheater.
Well, you know, Aaron, it takes a real genius to take 5 concepts and milk them into 16 different plays.
Yeah, but I can never tell any of them apart. Like, what's the one with the shipwreck, the identical twins, and the big wedding at the end?
All of them?
That's stupid.
Well, Shakespeare obviously should have written one exemplary play instead of 16 sucky ones, which is why I have taken the liberty of condensing Shakespeare's comedic diarrhea into a single, solid, well-formed lump of hilarity, which I have entitled The Comedy of Two Well-Measured Gentlemen Lost in the Merry Wives of Venice on a Midsummer's Twelfth Night in Winter.
Or Cymbeline taming Pericles the Merchant in the Tempest of Love, as much as you like it for nothing. Or 4 Weddings and a Transvestite.
Act 1. he over to his tyrannical brother and set sail for the golden age of Greece. While rounding the heel of Italy, his ship is caught in a terrible tempest and cast up on a desert island, along with his sweet, innocent, clueless young daughter.
Dear father, I am so lonely and pubescent on this island. I am sad, boo-hoo, and frisky, rar.
Oh, precious daughter, watch out for symbols of colonial oppression lurking in caves, waiting for virgins.
Okay, bye-bye.
Meanwhile, the Duke's long-lost son, a handsome, dashing, clueless young merchant, is also shipwrecked, coincidentally on the very same island.
Oh, how will I survive without funds in this strange and foreign land? I know, I must needs find me an old Jew. Behold, here comes a convenient Judeo-Italian stereotype now.
What's the matter with you, Need a payday loan, Bubby?
The wicked Jew tricks the merchant into putting down his brains as collateral on the loan.
Such a deal!
Act 2. Fearing ravishment, the sweet, innocent, clueless young princess disguises herself as a boy and becomes page to a handsome, dashing, clueless young merchant.
You there, boy!
Yes, or I mean...
Yes?
You will woo the Lady Violivia for me, for she is shrewish, and I am sick with love.
I too feel flubby down there, and though I may not speak it aloud, I do love thee, though that I am a boy.
I swingeth not that way, boy. Deliver this letter to Violivia. Go hence.
Whence?
I'm the hither from hence to thence.
Act 3. The beautiful, virginal, clueless young princess arrives in man drag to woo the Lady Violivia.
It is I, the bitchy shrew Violivia. Come hither.
Is there?
From thither to hither. If you come in, I'll show you my zither.
Act 4. On the 12th night of midsummer, a puckish sprite lures all the lovers deep into a forest and squeezes the aphrodisiac juices of a hermaphroditic flower in their eyes, while the queen of the fairies seduces a rude mechanical who has the head of an ass.
Yeah, but I'm the ass of a man, and I'm hung like a donkey.
Act 5. In the ensuing bisexual, animalistic orgy, the princess's man clothes get ripped off, revealing a smoking bod and female genitalia. The merchant recognizes his sister.
My nearly identical twin.
My long-lost and strangely attractive brother.
The shrew realizes she's bi-curious.
Oh, brave new world.
The soldier decides he actually prefers bottom.
Thereby hangs a sweet tale.
The Jew exits, pursued by bear.
Oh, you bear!
And they all get married in the state of Massachusetts and go out to dinner. Now give us your hands if we be friends, because all is well that finally ends. Thank you.
Shakespeare's such a pervert. Well, let's see, that was
16 plays in 5 minutes, not bad. But if we're gonna get out of here before midnight, we're gonna have to go back to the tragedies.
Tragedies!
Tragedies.
Interestingly, we found that Shakespeare's comedies aren't nearly as funny as the tragedies.
That's true. You know, it's a funny one, the Scottish play.
Oh yeah, Big Ben. Why not?
Because it's cursed, and it's bad luck to say the name of that play in a theater unless you're performing it. That's why we refer to it as the Scottish play.
But we are performing it. And besides, there's something remotely Scottish about it.
Well, it's all in the performance, Aaron. It has to be done so you can see the heather rippling on the highlands and feel the cool summer breeze wafting up your kilt and smell the vomit steaming in the alley outside the pub.
Good idea. Kilts, whiskey, vomit! Ladies and gentlemen, we now present our authentically Scottish production of Macbeth.
Toil and trouble! Stay in pair, that Mac speaker! Mac, tell me Mac more!
Macbeth, Macbeth, beware, Macduff! For no man or woman born can harm Macbeth till Birnam Wood come to Dunsinane! Don't you know?
That's did great! Then Mac what Mac need Mac aye, Mac fear, Mac doff!
See you, Jimmy!
Thank you, Jimmy.
I know that a Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. What do you think about that?
I didn't like it! But I support a woman king's right to choose. Lay on, haggis bread!
Ah, Macbeth! You did kill me wife, and you murdered me wee bairns, and you did poop in me soup.
Ah, I did that.
Ah, you did? I'll throw half it away. Ah, away! Take this. Behold, where lies the usurper's cursed head. Macbeth, your horse is up the windy. And know that there is never a story of more brutal death than this of Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth. Thank you.
Meanwhile, in ancient Rome, Julius Caesar was a much beloved tyrant. All hail Julius Caesar, hail citizen, who was warned by a soothsayer.
Beware the Ides of March.
Caesar, however, chose to ignore the warning. What the hell are the Ides of March?
The 15th of March.
Hey, that's today! Ah, too brutal! Ah! Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar. So let's bury him and get on to my play. Antony!
And Cleopatra! Is this an ass I see before me? Come, venomous wretch! Oh, I'm about to reuse another double down. Oh, I'm up here, Karen! Aaron! What?
You have this really bizarre notion that all of Shakespeare's tragic heroines wear really ugly wigs and vomit on people before they die.
It's an interpretation.
Barfing is not an interpretation.
Well, they were into it.
Aaron, Antony and Cleopatra has nothing to do with gastrointestinal distress. It's an exciting transglobal thriller about political maneuverings in the ancient Mediterranean.
Oh, one of those transglobal plays, huh? Kind of like that one that predicted 21st century wireless communication.
What?
You know, two mobile kinsmen.
Aaron, Shakespeare wrote Michael two noble kinsmen. Not two mobile kinsmen, two noble kinsmen.
No, it's called Two Mobile Kinsmen. Because the two kinsmen are Bill Gates and Steve Jobs.
No, the two kinsmen are two cousins who fall in love with the same woman.
Okay, so they're texting each other, oh, you're the BFF.
No!
Well, F you, I haven't even heard that play before.
Well, that is because Two Noble Kinsmen falls into the category of Shakespeare's plays, which is neither comedy, tragedy, nor history, and which some scholars refer to as the obscure plays, or in some circles the problem plays, sometimes the lesser plays, but sometimes simply the bad plays. But not all of the bad plays are completely without merit. One of them, in fact, Troilus and Cressida, is hardly crap at all. I actually discuss it in my unpublished monograph about William Shakespeare entitled I Love My Willie. You guys will love it. It's big, it's long, it's uncut. I've been hammering mine on. It's a senior monograph.
What else do you keep with it?
Got a harmonica, deck of cards in here. Got your Anne Hathaway. Sandwich, you want?
Oh.
I have an idea. Why don't we do a performance art, interpretive dance version of your thing?
Oh, I love interpretive dance. It's so pretentious.
Get some props. Guys, wait a minute. I was thinking we could do more of a straightforward, scholarly approach.
Screw that.
Now, you read, we'll interpret. Fine. Troilus and Cressida. Troilus and Cressida was written in 1603 and published in 1604, published in Quarto. It appears in the first folio, although this version is some 166 lines longer than the second folio edition. So he cut about 166 lines for the second edition. So it's interesting that if you look at the title page here, it is often categorized as a comedy, which is strange because the themes and motifs explored in
nothing to do with a tiny wind-up robot.
Isn't there anything in there about the plot?
Of course, I covered the plot. It's right here in a footnote on page 27. Troilus, youngest son of Priam, king of Troy.
You mean Troilus and King?
Okay. Loves Cressida.
I got the wig.
And has arranged with her uncle Pandarus for a meeting. Although she feigns indifference, she does love him.
I have to feign indifference.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Agamemnon, the Greek commander, has surrounded the Trojans and is
What?
Boring.
This is the kind of stuff kids hate to read in school because it's so boring.
Yeah, I heard Agamemnon. That's what the fall asleep.
Now look, guys. I promised them we wouldn't do dry, boring vomit as Shakespeare.
You don't even know these people.
I know a couple of them. That's Addison. He's cleaned his car. It's his girlfriend Christy. She looks great. Chris, he's been like, what, 26, you said?
Yeah. What's your point here?
My point is that I love these people, and I don't want them to turn off to Shakespeare the way I was in school. I'd be sitting in high school, learning about Shakespeare, looking outside, watching kids play ball, and be thinking, man, why can't Shakespeare be all these sports?
Well, how do you mean?
Well, sports are exciting, engaging, you know? Take the histories, for example. We got these kings knocking each other off, the throwing, passing left and right, they run up and down the field. Why, it's a lot like football, except use a crown.
Huh. I guess they are kind of similar, aren't they? I have a whistle in here.
All right, line up. It's time to kick some royal ass. 25, Fortitude, Richard III, Henry IV, Part 1, Part 2, hot! And the crown is now to Richard II, that well-spoken 14th century English monarch. He's fading back to pass. He's looking for an air downfield, but there's a heavy rush from King John. The cross pushes downward. The crown is in the air, and Henry VI comes up with it.
Victory is mine.
But he's hit immediately by King John. Oh no, it looks like he's cutting Henry VI into 3 parts. That's gotta hurt. This could be the end of the War of the Roses cycle.
King John is in the clear.
My soul hath elbow room.
He's at the 40, the 30, the 20. Oh, he's poised at the 10-yard line. Looks like he's out of the game. Replacing him now is number 72, King Lear.
To Regan and Goneril, I hand off my kingdom. Cordelia, you go long.
Penalty marker. Fictional character on the field. Lear's disqualified and he's not happy about it.
Oh!
Lining up now is that father's on the team, Prince Hal, Henry IV. Center's out the quarterback. Quarterback is the hunchback. Looks like Richard III's limit is giving him trouble.
Hush! My kingdom, no!
There's a bottle of the field.
Bumbo! And Henry VIII comes up with it. He's at the 15, the 10. He stops at the 5-yard line and chop off his wife's head. Touchdown for the Red Rose. It looks like it's going to be the beginning of a Tudor dynasty. Henry VIII, Richard III, the whole royal family is freaking absurd. Go Steelers!
Oh, how's that?
How you doing?
I was just checking all the plays we did, and I think we did them all.
Hey, really?
Yeah. We just did the histories.
The comedies were one popularity. We got the tragedies. Let's see, we did Titus Andronicus with a little bit of the blood.
Romeo and Juliet, what do you think made out?
Julius Caesar, Troilus and Cressida, right?
We wrapped Othello. Lear was in the football game. Macbeth we did with the golf club.
Yeah.
Did we do Antony and Cleopatra?
Yes.
The Timon of Athens, yeah, I mentioned. Coriolanus.
Skip that one.
What's wrong with Coriolanus?
I'm not crazy about the anus part. I think it's offensive.
Oh, cool. We did them all.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we can let you go home alliteration tonight. Wait, hold on.
Hamlet.
Oh, man, Hamlet.
Shakespeare didn't write Hamlet.
Yes, he did.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Then what's it about?
The young prince who struggles with his conscience after his uncle murders his father.
You mean the Lion King?
Ladies and gentlemen, 36 plays down, 1 to go. Perhaps the greatest play ever written. A play of such lofty, philosophical... There, what?
Hamlet's kind of like a big undertaking. I'm not really feeling
What are you talking about? It's the last one.
I get that. It's just like after a football game, I'm exhausted, mentally drained, you know. I just couldn't do it justice.
We don't have to do it justice. We just have to do it.
I don't want to do it.
Aaron, our show is called The Complete Works of William Shakespeare.
Okay, then we'll change it to the complete works of William Shakespeare, except Hamlet.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Aaron, I'm pretty sure all your friends would like to see it, right?
Come on, would you see it?
As a two-person show, backseat. It's a stranger. Pull guy, pull
I will break all your arms. Leave him alone. Never let go, Jack.
Okay, I get it. Get off.
Fine. All right, so we begin. Sorry, that little. We have more. Okay, so we begin with the two guards scene. So we'll need Bernardo and Horatio.
Okay, gotcha.
And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Let's get them. They already have their own place.
Hey, where are you going?
I'll kill the cameraman. I'll do it.
Fine, go ahead. I have another camera set up already. Aaron, where are you going? Aaron, guys! Guys! I don't know your line.
We're fine. Derek's usually a lot faster than Aaron is. He's a good, he's a sprinter sometimes. So like in short bursts, he can. Maybe just wait, it'll be. Oh, I have an idea. One second. Okay. All right, Chip. You stand here. This is your big moment, buddy. Who's there? Hey, answer me. It's Nate. Jim. It's Nate. Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. Long live the king. Bernardo. He. Anyone buying that? Want to hear a joke? Okay, all right, this one has a little bit of audience participation. I think you'll be able to figure it out, though. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Hey, Anthony, stand and unfold yourself who?
It's long live the king is the next one. Never mind. I'm sorry, I tried to trick you. That wasn't a true knock, knock joke. Let's see. How about a song? I can sing a song. Yeah, a song. There. Jim. What a pro. Okay. I know a song. It's the story of Hamlet in about 3 minutes. And it's not as good as the performance, but it's something. I wish I knew more than 2 chords. Whatever. All right. There was a king a-napping in his garden all alone when his brother in his ear poured a little drop of poison, stole his brother's crown and his money and his widow, and the dead king went and found his son and said, "Now listen, kiddo, I've been killed and it's your duty to take revenge on Claudius, to kill him clean and quick and show the nation what a fraud he is." The kid says, "Right, I'll do it, but I'll have to play it crafty so no one will suspect me. I'll pretend that I am Daffy." Like the duck. So all except for Horatio, he counts him as his friend. Hamlet, that's the kid he kids that he's around the bend. But since he's not willing for obligatory killing, he tries to make his uncle think he's tuppence off a shilling. Takes a rise out of Polonius, treats poor Ophelia vile, tells Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that Denmark's blood and bile. Then a troupe of traveling actors like the ones you see before arrive to do a special one-night gig in Elsinore. Hamlet, Hamlet, acting balmy. Hamlet, Hamlet, loves his mommy. Hamlet, Hamlet, hesitating, wonders if the ghost's a fake, and that is why he's waiting So Hamlet wrote a scene for the players to enact some Horatio, and he could see if Claudius cracked. The play was called The Mousetrap, not the one that's running now, and sure enough, the king walked out before the final bow. So Hamlet's got the proof, his uncle gave his dad the dose. The only problem being now that Claudius knows he knows, so Hamlet tells his mommy her new husband's not a fit man. Uncle Claude takes out a contract with the English king as hitman. So when Hamlet kills Polonius and the corpus was delecti, was the king's excuse to send him for an English shop and necktie with the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to make sure that he got there. But Hamlet took the boat and put the finger straight on that pair. Then later, he heard his dad's guilt in the bedroom in the air as he came running back to Elsinore to tweet off from Paris. When Ophelia heard her dad's go by the man she was to marry, after saying it with flowers, she committed Harry Carey. I know we already did a Harry Carey joke, but it happens a lot in Shakespeare's works, plus it rhymed, so, you know. Hamlet, Hamlet, learned his lesson. Hamlet, Hamlet, no messin'. Hamlet, Hamlet, Yorick's crust. Convinced all men, good or bad, at last was come to dust. So Laertes lost his cool and he demanded retribution, and the king said, keep your head and I'll supply you a solution. The king set up a sword fight for the interested parties with a blunted sword for Hamlet and a sharp sword for Laertes. And to make double sure the old belt embraced his line, he fixed up a poisoned sword to bend a poisoned cup of wine. The poisoned sword got Hamlet, but Laertes went and fluffed it because he stabbed himself and he confessed before he snuffed it. Then Hamlet's mommy drank the wine and her face turned blue, and Hamlet said, I think this king's a villain through and through. Incestuous murder stand the date, he said to be precise, then made up for hesitating once by killing Claudius twice. He stabbed him with his knife and forced the wine between his lips. He said the rest is silence, and he cashed in all his chips. Then they fired a volley over him and took the topmost rafter, and Ford and Brosney deep in Danes lived happily ever after. Hamlet, Hamlet, end of story. Hamlet, Hamlet, very gory. Hamlet, Hamlet, I'm on my way. And if you think that was long, you should read the freaking play. That was all my ideas. It's not as good as the acting. This is actually weird. This kind of reminds me of a dream I had the other night. I'll tell you, it was typical actor's anxiety dream, right? So we're doing this show, and everything's going well, everybody's having a good time. Audience loves it, especially me. It's my dream. So, and then all of a sudden, in the dream, I realized that we haven't actually done all the plays, and we just been sort of making everything up as we went along, and then Derek and Aaron just disappeared. Leave me on the stage alone with an hour to fill, and then suddenly everything goes dark. It's intermission, and I'm naked.